G'day, welcome back to the Yucky Outback. I'm the Stench Strategist, and today this is Australians' Death Guard tactics from the plague-ridden side of the tabletop. Today, we're looking at the big shifts for Death Guard, what has changed, why Mortarion, our Primarch, is now more relevant than ever in Death Guard, which key units are starting to matter, and how our meta dispositions need to change if we need to stay competitive. We'll also break down the combos we're testing out on the tabletop, what looks strong on paper, and what actually has legs on the tabletop to get you those victories. Because Death Guard don't win by being flashy or really out there, we win by old school, having pressure, patience, making sure our contagion ranges are on point, and making the opponent slowly realise they're already in trouble and far too deep than they're ready to handle. We don't move fast, but we do move with inevitability, so let's get yucky. Death Guard 11th edition, how are we doing? Well, Death Guard, in my personal opinion, as a strategic player myself, I think they're placed around C tier at the moment. We currently lack the mobility like other armies do. We do have a couple detachments that have given us assault, like contagion engines, but it's not currently enough. Our vehicles don't do enough compared to other vehicles that other armies have, so we're in a bit of a standstill. But all hope is not lost. In this video, I'm going to take you through a couple of things that we can do to fix this. So, let's get to the video. So, about me personally, my name is the Stench Strategist. At the moment, I am the top #1 ranked player for Australia in an ITC for Death Guard. I've attended many GTs and placed very well, coming top 5 in most of my GTs. I'm also based in the outback of Australia, and all I want to do really is help Death Guard players move forward in this tough time with all of the rules and changes that we've experienced. So join me for some crazy outback strategies, some terrible outback plague jokes, and a competitive fun environment to help newcomers and old transitioning players come back into 11th with full-fledged awesomeness. Alright, so what will you find in this video? So you're going to find a couple section topics that I'm going to cover. We're going to go through number 1, Death Guard changes. Number 2, why Mortarion is now relevant more than ever for our army. Number 3, some key units to look and try on the tabletop. Number 4, meta dispositions for Death Guard. And also number 5, combos to start looking into. Alright, so let's get into this video. So, army changes. Subtle but impactful for Death Guard. Our contagion has been capped at 12 inches, so we used to be able to go past this at 10th edition. Now they've changed this, so our contagion can't spread as far. We've had an army rules change. We used to have -1 to hit. Now that's changed to -1 to hit only in melee. And Death Strat have lost their 6th inch charge. Now currently in this edition we round up our charges, so since you're 6.001 we have to round that up to 7. So unfortunately Death Strat are now 7 inch charges coming into reserves with the ability that they have in the data sheet. So issues for us that we're going to be facing this edition. Other armies still get the ability to have -1 to hit via abilities, and this was not built into our codex because GW obviously built this without thinking for longevity. And changing our rules has hindered us quite badly defensively for our whole idea of Death Guard. So moving into this, we're looking at -1 to hit ballistic, -1 to hit. So it'd take most armies on a 5+ to hit us. But obviously they've played test this and thought it was too powerful, so they've changed that. So Death Guard should have some updates coming soon to fix, as we won't be performing too well in GTs. And our firepower is also gone. Bye-bye Defilers. We all knew it was coming, but now Death Guard are in a really rough spot because now we're relying on 4+ to hit heavy bloat drones and mythic blight haulers. And mythic blight haulers and bloat drones are very dicey when it comes to doing consistent damage. So we're in a bit of a spot shooting-wise. So, how to work around these changes? Simple fixes. We now have a detachment called Flyblown Host that's been reworked. That gives us a couple things. We get Plague Marines that can infiltrate. If you also attach characters to these units, they do get infiltrating keyword because they come apart as the Plague Marine unit itself. So just a quick little tech you can do. If you attach the Lord of Poxes, for example, he infiltrates with a +3 contagion. So we're spreading contagion early in the turn 1. So this goes for all supports and leaders as well for Death Guard. We don't have many supports, if any at all. So that's pretty cool. We also have -3 detection range to go and get added on with go to ground, -3 detection range. So that effectively gives Plague Marines a 9 inch hidden basically, which is really, really powerful for turn 1 staging. We also play more to stage more than shoot now, and we also want to out OC. That's our game. So this edition, try to look for trying to not kill as much. Purge the Foe is a lot harder for us because we're not very good at it compared to other armies. but we are great at doing a couple dispositions that I'm going to go over with you guys. So, Mortarion. I did say Mortarion is quite relevant. I'm not joking, guys. He's a very, very big impact for Death Guard this edition. So what's the big guy up to, basically, in this edition? Well, he has access to Take to the Skies, which is massive for him. Last edition, he had to move around buildings, which made him really ineffective to be able to get into combat, mainly because of the fact that he's so big and his base was quite decently big. So he always had to have high charges, and it'd usually be a turn too late unless you deep strike him in reserves. So that's a really big bonus for him, a lot of good movement. -1 ballistic skill into him makes him very, very, very tough. He's a 2-up, 4-up invul with a 5-up Feel No Pain, and he also has -1 to hit when you're just obscuring him with hiding his wing behind any terrain, dense terrain, or a footprint. Very, very, very big. His reactive is so big for our army at the moment. To be within 6 of this guy gives you access of a 9-inch range of aura effect, where if an enemy unit ends a fallback, a normal move, or advanced move into this aura, that gives us a chance to have a 5-inch reactive move. Very powerful, and this can also be used on Mortarion as well. So he also gives up a fight on death on a 2+ in the fight phase, and also reactive shootback. The reactive shootback was good when we had the Defilers to pair up with this. However, they had to survive, and usually 9 times out of 10 they would be bracketed with this ability. The fight phase one is quite good if you're planning to run a lot of melee units around Mortarion. Unfortunately, we aren't that great at melee. We do have lethal hits built in. The only time I'd see you want to use this would be if you're fighting alongside Death Shroud, or if you're fighting alongside Blightlord Terminators. But besides that, he's got some very good reactives. His sweep is very impactful at the moment. Since you currently, he is 15 attacks, hitting on 2s, lethal sustains, strength 8 or 7, AP 2, damage 2. Very effective at wiping out small units, when infantry is very key in this edition. So he has got a massive boost in being able to anchor in the center of the battlefield. He also unlocks Psychic on his Rotwind to clear chaff, which is his D6 +3 blast ranged attack, which is really good. Also dicey, but depending on how you roll, this thing can do a lot of damage to chaff units as well, for letting other units go through for infantry. He's a T12, 2-up, 4-up, like I said, with a 5-up Feel No Pain. He has more to offer this edition because he has an Involves 4-up, which is really big. He's also OC6, and he has a Leadership 5+ in Battle Shock driven metas, which is this edition because Tyranids and everyone is forcing Battle Shocks, and a Battle Shock's got a massive upgrade we have to roll out of it. So this guy is really, really good. Apart from the fact that he's always going to be obscuring as well, like I said, with a -1 ballistic skill, he's going to be very, very, very good to put in your lists. He is 400 points though, so it's a very big tax to bring this guy in your lists. But the major thing we have to think about is it's 400 points that he does the best role for Death Guard at aiding our units. He's not going to be the guy that's going to win us the game, but he aids us with all of our winning units, and that's what we need to remember. A epic hero does not win the game on his own. He needs to have his mates and units behind him to do so. So if you're playing a main piece unit like Mortarion, just understand that he is really good when he's paired up with people, and on his own, he's just like anything else. He can be taken down, so just be wary of that. Alright, so our units, our fellas that are really good right now, that I would suggest looking into this edition, our standard Plague Marines, they're 90 points, Poxwalkers at 65, Heavy Bloat Drones at 125, Bloat Drones at 100, Mortarion at 400, Blightlord Termies at 115, that's at 3-man units, the Plague Marines are at 5-man units, and the Poxwalkers are at 10. The Plaguecaster is really good. Demon Prince with Wings is surprisingly going to be really good. He's 170 points, and Icon Bearers at 45 points. They are very good as well. The reason why I've chucked in Demon Prince with Wings rather than Foot is, yes, we lose 1 toughness, but these guys on the charge take a forced Battle Shock test to your opponent at -1, which is really big into a OC-driven meta, and also holding objectives. Even Purge the Foe is still trying to hold objectives, where if you stop them from scoring over time, that is going to accumulate over 5 rounds if you do so. That's going to block a total of, 25 points. Quite big. Icon Bearer gives +1 SC to Plague Marines that he's leading, and he also gives a 12-inch aura of once per game he can Battle Shock something in any phase. So that's really good for scoring primary if your opponent tries to get the jump on you to out-OC you. Bloodwood Termies get +1 strength, +1 AP when they're being led or a unit of 5 or greater, I believe. So they're really good. Plaguecast has always been good with his D6 +3 Flamer, AP2, damage D3 potential, strength 6, so very, very good. Blow drones with the Plague, the Plague Spitters are very, very powerful at the moment. D6 attacks each, so you have 2D6, anti-issue 2 up, so very, very powerful. They can also fall back and shoot, very, very powerful, and still be eligible to charge. I believe, heavy bloat drones. Now these guys have let me down more times than I can count last edition, and they're even worse now. They are most 9 times out of 10 going to be hitting on a 4+. So these guys are very dicey. So if you're going to bring them, you need to pair them up with Lord of Violence for rerolls. If not, these guys will not kill a lot of stuff. Okay, so just be wary of that. Plague Marines still have their Daisha ability, where if they shoot something, hit something successfully, they are contagious. And Poxwalkers just have their Plague of the Walking Pox, where they can regen models back, and they have a 5 Feel No Pain. So they're just good chaff. So meta dispositions. This is one that I think a lot of Death Guard players are looking at assistance with. For me, what should we be playing? Purge of the Furrow is obviously the closest one to 10th edition. So that's going to make you feel familiar with most of your list building and what's comfortable for you. I think at the moment, priority assets and taking hold are quite good. But the one that I think is very, very powerful at the moment is Disruption. Disruption for Death Guard is huge. We out-OC, we kill stuff on objectives, and we want to hold. That is Death Guard at its finest. So if you can look at playing Disposition, I think that would be really good for Death Guard moving forward. Disposition ones are Taliban Summoners, and I think the other one is Shamble Rot, I believe. So give those a go. Those attachments are paired them up with other 1DPs that you think will go well for your playstyle. These will keep you guys quite competitive with Disposition because they're very doable missions. Priority assets for table quarters is quite hard and always doing an action, so you're going to have to bring a swarm list, so Shamble Rot's very good for this. Purge of the Foe is trying to kill. Unfortunately, we don't have enough killing, so yeah, just play with awareness that we've lost our killing potential this edition so far, but the others are really great. Besides that, the other detachments, you know, reconnaissance and all that, I haven't had too many games with them, so they could be viable too. I don't see myself as a Death Guard player in the competitive scene trying to use that, because we're just not built for that. So, but please try this, see how it goes, and get back to me with your results. I'd love to hear about it. Detachments that I pair up with my detachments looking forward that I think are really good are Villa Vectorum, Contagion Engines, Mortarion Tamar, Fly Blown, Deathlord's Chosen, Shamble Rot, and also Taliban Summoners. Taliban Summoners isn't in this, but after a couple extra games, I think the 5-up involved for Demons is actually really, really good. Gives us a chance to survive on objectives where they have to commit a lot harder. So I think Taliban Summoners for me is the pick that I'll be going for the start of this edition. I've seen a lot of other people use Taliban last edition towards the end for competitive play. Taliban's quite good with +2 Contagion for Death Guard units when they're next to a Plague Legion. Plague Legion get the Nurgle Contagion ability when they're within 6. So I think it's quite good. And there's a couple demons in there that do some crazy stuff. So get in there, have a mess around, see what you can come up with, and get back to me because I love seeing what other opponents and other players of Friendly Death Guard company alike build. It's really cool. So, combos to try. Morty plus Marines with a reactive move is really powerful. Death Shroud plus Morty and Land Raider. This is just a reactive move that goes into the Land Raider. So the theory behind it is Morty can anchor with the Land Raider there at -1 ballistic skill because you can be obscured quite easily. On your turn, you hop out the Death Shroud, they move, they charge, or you move the Land Raider up, they charge. And then once your opponent tries to get within 9 to take you off the objective, because you have hidden 15, which you can make down to hidden 12. Once they get too close, because they want to charge you, because these guys don't usually die after one activation of shooting, they can just react and move back into the Land Raider. And they have a Morty Land Raider with Death Shroud in it. It's quite a good combo. Rhino plus 2 Plague Casters are really good too. It's a 12-inch moving Flamer at D6 plus 3 each, Strength 6, AP 2, Damage D3 base. So picking -1 to save for this is an AP 3 Flamer. Quite ridiculously good. So that's another tech you can try. That tech is known as the Plague Blast. Shout out to the Disgusting Resilient podcast. They're the ones that introduced that to me. So, yeah, very, very big Death Guard community over there. They're really good at what they do. Death Guard Dave and Aiden definitely know their stuff when it comes to Death Guard. So check out their content. They will help you with this edition as well. The other thing that I try combo-wise is the Foul Blights 1+ Marines. If you pair this up with a -3 detection range plus the upgrade for -3 detection range to Plague Marines, Basically what that's doing is a 9-inch hidden. Then if they try to advance to get you in reach of an objective, they can't advance within 9 with the Foul Blight spawn because he has a 9-inch advance deny aura. So therefore, if you're not within 9, you cannot shoot them because they're hidden out within 9. So that's a very nice little tech you can do if you put the Foul Blight spawn at the front. Tallyman plus Marines. Tallyman's the only guy that ignores any ballistic modifiers for Plague Marines. He is quite good. I usually put him at the back of my objective for the 7+ CP like everyone else does last edition. He has some relevancy to move up the board now. He's also producing CP. So the hard part is that you have to weigh up precision and things like that. But CP gen is good. You can run multiple of these guys. So since CP does stack, you can get multiple CP through these guys if you have good rolls. So definitely check that out. And a hidden tech with the Hellbrutes now. What is this? For me, I found that against Knights in particular, you have a las cannon which is hitting on 3s and you're wounding on 2s when you put the Knights in contagion because strength 12 las cannon down to +1 to wound, so you go into 2s with a las cannon. They have a 5-up invul, sure, that's D6 +1 damage, that's just for free. You can bring multiple Hellbrutes in a unit, in a list. And they also have great damage potential on the charge as well. They don't have an invul save, so be wary of that. But there's a little tech that you can run with there if you're low on firepower, if you need to buff it up a bit, if you have some Hellbrutes lying around. So give that a go. Besides that, guys, this is like my little overview of Death Guard as a faction. I think Death Guard are in a really, I guess, mid-tier base at the moment. We're definitely not bad, but we're definitely not top 5 contending like we used to be at the end of 10th. We used to be quite good. My advice to fellow Death Guard players, since I've got a fair, good, decent competitive background, is build your list to have fun at the moment. If you're looking to jump into the competitive scene, I think you might average on a 6-game round tournament, you might go 3-3 or 2-4. If you go beyond that, guys, you're doing very, very well strategically. The units aren't going to back up your plan, unfortunately, as other armies have a lot of ways to be able to combat Death Guard at the moment. But apart from that, I think Death Guard will be fixed quite soon. Death Guard's a very popular army. A lot of people will be complaining, just like we will be, that their armies are not as good as the top. And GW is going to have to fix this quite quickly, so don't worry too much, okay? But yeah. One thing I will do is definitely have more videos coming out in the future for how to use Mortarion in this edition. I'll also have videos of techs with things that you can try, so the reactive movement and things like that, how that comes into play. Really good core rule awareness, so I will be going through videos on how to exploit the new rules, things that are going to be very important for Death Guard to have access to. Doing some list buildings for you guys, so you can try out my lists and see if you like them for the edition, if you're struggling to come up with your own, because this edition is quite hard for Death Guard to make some pretty competitive lists. However, I think I've got a couple that I can show you guys and put up my sleeve to you guys, just have to get out there and go to some RTTs and some GTs and see how you go. But yeah, lots of videos coming out in the future, so please stick around. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Spread contagion. Love Papa Nurgle. This is the Stench Strategist signing out.